In the world of film, there are certain movies that stand above the rest, casting their shadows over everything that comes after. Each week, we discuss these keystone films and the copycats that they inspire. This season on Keystone Copycats, The Point Breakdown. Hello, and welcome to Keystone Copycats with Chris and Zach. I, of course, am your host, Zach, and he, of course, is your other host.
Please.
That's correct. Hey there, buddy. How you doing?
How is you?
Oh.
If you're tired, go to bed. You don't got to sigh into our precious ears.
So let me ask you a question.
Our ear balls.
Have you ever
I have.
dealt with somebody who, on the telephone, likes to sigh loudly into your ear?
On the telephone? On the telly?
That's correct.
You say it like that. Oh, silly.
So,
How you doing on this Monday? Glorious Monday.
the only thing keeping me sane right now is the promise of lasagna and a lazy afternoon.
Perfect.
Lying in a square of sunlight. As I've mentioned, I've never had lasagna. Now,
About lasagna.
the thing about...
You're going to ask me
You
about
gotta know about
lasagna? Was that the lead-in?
No, I was trying to turn it away from our Orange Lord. I was trying to make it a little more secular on this worshipful day.
Because that's like global, like his belly, like it's round, the secular belly, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you were getting at?
That's 100%. That's it.
Sorry. I have I'm tired and I drank coffee too late and I'm like in that weird mode where I'm like, I'm still peaking in certain ways. I feel like I took too much B12 and I'm like, a little anxious.
That you right now?
Stop that. I got to get rid of this soundboard. That was the biggest ill investment. Ill investment?
Yeah. Investment.
Investment.
Investment? Is that what you said?
I told you I'm messed up right now.
Yeah.
I started my day poorly, too, because I woke up and saw a picture of, on Facebook, of my son and his brother at the bus stop. And I texted his mom, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. I slept in. I completely forgot that he was his first day at the bus stop today. And she goes, oh, no, don't worry about it, because he starts school tomorrow. Because we talked about this yesterday, it was his brother's first day of school, not his. And I'm like,
that
thank
makes
God.
sense.
I said, luckily I put it in my calendar so I wouldn't forget.
Well, there you go.
So that's what she has to deal with. So sorry, Andy's mom.
You ever wonder if you maybe have extremely early onset Alzheimer's? Does that ever creep into your thoughts?
No, it always
lying awake at night.
I still get those panics. I'll be laying on the couch after work and just watching TV, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to pick him up from school. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, I picked him up from school. He's up in his room, and it's Saturday. I have those panic moments as a parent.
Yeah,
because I'm not good at it.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I put all his food in the bottom cabinet so he can feed himself. So when it's 4 o'clock and he hasn't eaten, instead of people being like, what's your problem? I'm like, well, that's his fault. He should have fed himself.
What's weird is my son
I can blame shift.
He just doesn't eat. He gets up in the morning, he doesn't eat breakfast, he doesn't eat lunch,
no,
and then it comes to
what I did
9
was
p.m. and he's like, I'm kind of hungry, and I'm like, you're dumb, you didn't eat all day, and he's like, I think I should have these chips, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I made him a little cabinet in the bottom of his room so he can also feed himself.
Oh, I see.
I planned it for both our houses.
Oh, I see.
So I'm one step ahead of children.
Yeah. So
how you doing?
Most of my week, I'm not good is the answer. Most of my week has been, aside from working, has been dealing with not having a Facebook account because I got locked out. I can't get back in. It's
that's weak.
Dumb.
You know what I'm saying? That's weak, right? Because that's your week was. That's a good joke, Chris.
Aside from the fact that I have photos and stuff on there and
of your children.
keep in contact with people who I don't have means to otherwise. Like, that's how I promote our show.
I'm gonna give you the same advice that Facebook gave me when I wanted to change my name back to my real name, and we'll just make a new one. Make a new account. How about that?
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
How's that feel? So what are you going to do about it? Tell us.
I don't fucking
You have a
know,
plan?
man. No, I don't.
You look like a guy with a plan.
No, I don't. I look like a guy who,
in basketball
every
shorts.
single week after we record, my basement where we record becomes
That's
the
the
most
lair.
like.
That's like giving away the
I'm sorry.
Batcave,
The
you
lair
fool.
where we record
Okay.
becomes so messy and cluttered and full of other shit because I'm trying to do stuff, and then like the day before, I'm like, oh shit, I got to clear this out. We're recording, aren't we?
Do we call it the Arrow Cave after
No.
Green Arrow and Batman? Together?
No, I've named enough things after Green Arrow.
Gotcha.
So,
I get it. But
yeah, that's how my week's been going. It's really stupid. I'm stressed.
Sorry to hear about the Facebook. Hopefully you get that resolved.
I'd love to.
And if not, we can just share one, and maybe we could. Well, we can't change the name to like both
anything
of our names,
to anything because
Yeah,
you can't change your name
'cause it's
anymore
stuck.
because you did it too many times.
but you can just change your first name to Poland. You'll be Poland George,
No.
and then we can share the name.
No,
and
I
the
don't
account.
like that. No,
we'll
I
be
don't
like
that.
brethren,
Um,
but different.
it's frustrating. And what I realized, what's funny is like, if you had an issue with your Spotify account,
Okay.
they would take care of it. You
Oh.
could contact somebody, they could fix it. Do you know why?
I don't know if I.
It's
care.
because you're paying them.
Oh.
You're giving them money. So they have a reason.
Just pay Mark.
They have a reason to care if you are happy with their services.
You get,
Whereas Facebook is just designed to spread racist climate change memes. Like, that's
dude,
it.
Yeah, you got zucked.
I got.
You're a real
So what
a
happened
zucker.
is my account got cucked. That's what happened. Last week we talked about getting
No,
cucked by
it's-
college.
I
This
know,
week,
but
cucked
it's
by
Zuckerberg, so
by
you got
Zuck.
zucked. Cucked by Zuck.
No, but because zucked is like I got banned for like
Oh, is that a
content.
thing already?
That is a thing
Fuck,
that people
so it's
say.
not mine.
No, you didn't make it up.
Oh. Isn't that upsetting when you make something up and you realize it existed, and then you're like,
What's more upsetting
okay.
is when you make something up that you think is original, and then you realize that you already knew what that was.
Do you remember 20 years ago when I came up with the idea for the shirt that says "This is not a drill" and it was a hammer on it?
Yeah.
And then now it's a shirt.
I mean, I think it always was.
I came up with that shirt 20 years
I
ago.
think you came up with it while you were at Kings Island,
But
and
mine
you saw
was a-
someone wearing
mine
it
was a
with a
screwdriver.
denim fanny pack.
Mine was a screwdriver. It wasn't a hammer. It said, "This is not a drill."
No, I think you saw it at Kings Island.
Well, thanks for believing in me, you sack of shit. What are we doing
I think you
today?
exist.
What are we doing
I
today?
mean, I believe in you. Like a Santa Claus type thing. Well,
Did you write a super theme song or
I
something?
did. So, look, a couple of weeks ago, as you'll all recall, we tried.
Don't talk to them like
we
that.
tried to implement a lovely new segment called Meet the Hosts, and the first edition of that was meant to be us talking about our top 3 favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Now, one of us didn't do that,
Yep.
so.
If you think I did it this week, you're a fucking fool.
Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking.
No, I came closer this week, though.
No, that's fair.
This
because
one at least pertains more to what you wanted.
Well, because here's the thing. Like, I think your favorite movies are it's like a flexible thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
one week to the next, it could be different.
You're talking about in general, not me.
Yeah, in general, I think. But
Absolutely.
you specifically as well. So this week, we're going to do another edition of Meet the Hosts, and
Do
we're going
it.
to talk about our favorite
Press the button.
movies. Come on down and we'll meet the host. It's a thing once in a while on the mini episodes, and I promise it's a segment. Yeah, you're welcome to despise. We're just gonna learn some stuff about these guys.
You know what that doesn't have?
We're just gonna learn some stuff about these guys.
Is a baby xylophone.
You don't know.
Touche. So, who do you want to start? Do I want to start? Do you want to start?
I would like you to start because
Okay.
I want to see if you are fucking me over on this segment again.
No, not this one. However, I do want to get some guidelines, and you kind of already talked about it a little bit briefly. I'm actually gonna go ahead and give credit to Nolan movies, LOTR, Coen Brothers, Marvel, but the problem I have is that in those realms, like multiple movies would take up the 3 spots.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
I'm giving them props right away and saying there's a lot of my favorites in those areas.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to focus on that. I'm actually going to go to my more obscure go-to favorite movies, and not sure what else to say besides that. It is really hard. It's hard to say, like, if even a top 20 for me is almost impossible. I can't do it because as you pick them, they just shuffle around a lot.
It's always changing, for sure. And,
So
and your favorite might remain the same for a long time, but like anything else within like even top 10 is kind of like
So I went for the my more obscure favorites that if it was on TV, I stop and start watching it.
Oh sure. All right. So
these are my 3.
Hit me with your number 3.
So my first one is 2008's Aronofsky's The Wrestler.
I really thought you were going to say 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I was going to punch you and then end the episode and ask you to leave.
I only like two Kubrick movies.
Oh, really? What are they?
Oh, I'm not going to talk about it.
Are they on the list? Wow.
No, one got kicked off the list.
Ooh, okay. I'm interested. I want to hear this.
Yeah.
All right. So, The Wrestler.
The Wrestler. Yeah, that's it's about the character Randy Ram Robinson, played by Mickey Rourke, and Marissa Tomei is in it.
Oh, Marissa Tomei is so good.
And the reason that I like the movie so much is it like it is very dark. So most people are like, "Oh, you mean that terrible sad movie?" I'm like, "Well, I don't think so, because at the end, you do assume that he dies, but he dies doing what he loves. Like he's an ex-pro wrestler.
It is dark, but it's intentional. It's meant to be, and that's part of what's beautiful about it.
He's an ex-pro wrestler. And you get to see like the behind the scenes of being a wrestler, like what happens when you fade out and you just have a mundane job. And he lives in a trailer and he's still wrestling on the weekends, but he's got a day job working at like a grocery store where he's not appreciated and made fun of. So it's very real. And what I like about that film in particular is Aronofsky really just holds those long shots, so you get that ongoing depression that he's going through when you just sit there and just watch his face as he just responds to it. And in his character, he's very lovable, but he's a fuck up because he doesn't know how to be a dad, so he tries to rekindle his relationship with his daughter, but he keeps messing up. And I don't know, I guess it's just relatable. But I like it because you get to see the opposite side of the ring when you go from extreme fame just to nothing.
Yeah, it's a fall to earth kind of like, like he was a star and
it seems
fell out of the sky.
It seems
literally.
like it could be. I don't want to say like it could be real, because that really does happen to ex wrestlers, but I believe it. I believe in him.
Yeah, it's believable, and I think part of it is that like your love of wrestling is like it was a beautifully told,
spoiler,
bittersweet story.
I love wrestling.
We knew.
Well, let's move on.
But
to
also,
you,
it's something that you were interested in already. Like that's really cool. That it's like, I don't know. It's
Mickey Rourke was a great choice for an ex-wrestler. He just has,
for sure.
He has that glam rock feel to him already.
Yeah,
like
and Rourke and Tomei were both nominated for Best Actor and Best
Supporting
Actress. Mm-hmm. Supporting? Was it supporting?
I can't remember. I thought she was the more supporting role.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that is.
So
because his daughter was the lead. No, I haven't seen that movie in such a long time.
Correct. Let's move on. I don't want to stay too long on this one.
Yeah. So my number 3 is a movie that I didn't see that long ago.
If you didn't see it, then this is gonna be a problem.
No, the trailer was enough.
Oh, what was it?
It was Wonder Woman 1984.
I didn't.
No, I haven't seen it. And it looks stupid.
Your favorite, huh?
Yeah, it's my number 3 all time. A movie I haven't seen and think looks bad. That's how much I don't like movies. No, it's 1992's A Few Good Men.
I just watched that.
It's incredible.
I just watched that.
So written by Aaron Sorkin, obviously directed by.
And you always go on about how he can just work a room. Is that what you say?
No, it's
you say
not.
Something like that. You've said words. I know that.
I've said words about this movie. The way that like Aaron Sorkin writes a courtroom scene is incredible. So a couple of years ago, one of our friends and I tried to start a movie podcast, and part of that format for that show that we recorded a couple episodes, I don't think I ever even edited them together. But part of that format was that we would assign each other movies to see that we hadn't seen, like gaps in our film knowledge.
Okay.
And that was the first one that he assigned me, and it became one of my favorite movies. It's incredible.
Nice. Did he also write for the White House show that you
The West Wing, yeah, he created it.
Okay.
He was the showrunner. He wrote almost every single episode for the first 4 seasons, and then he left. He also did The Social Network. He wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote... I'm trying to think. I'm blanking on movies. Oh, he directed that movie that I liked.
That's
Yeah.
good. This is gold.
Why
This
am
is
I
gold. We should be
blanking on
recording
people?
this.
I mean, I'm on IMDb. I could just click on Aaron Sorkin and then be like, it was this. He did this and this and this.
Yeah,
he did Trial of Chicago 7 that came out last year. He
okay.
did Molly's Game, which I loved. He did The Newsroom on HBO, which was...
With Jeff Daniels?
Yeah. But which, not as good as The West Wing, but still a good, fun movie.
I've not
or
watched it
show.
yet.
Definitely worth watching.
I saw the Trial of Chicago 7. I did.
Did you like it?
That. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But anytime I've seen
So
a movie,
he directed that, too.
Anytime I only watch a movie once, it's hard for me to recall anything in it.
You ever see Charlie Wilson's War?
I did.
Tom
I
Hanks?
saw that multiple times. I feel like that's pretty short. It wasn't like an hour and 20 minutes. It's a pretty short movie.
No, I don't
for what it
remember.
is. But yeah, he was good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. So that's my number 3.
Nice.
A
So
few good men.
I don't know if you're going to agree with me on the second
don't.
one, and it might surprise you, but this is one that I liked from the first time I watched it, and the more I watch it, the higher it grows on my list, and that's 1984's The Thing, John Carpenter's
I've never seen The Thing.
Number one, it's just the practical effects on it. It's just it's become such a cult classic, and I love that it just bombed when it was first released.
Yeah.
Like I guess the reviews were that like no one's like it's not your standard. Here's the hero, and then he takes care of the villain, because it's the ambiguous end where you don't really know if it's if the thing is still which one of them is the thing, or if both of them are, or neither one of them are. So
And I really don't know because I've never seen it.
So, but I like it
Wonder
because
Woman
it's almost like
1984.
once you realize that the thing, it's it could be anybody in the camp. Everyone becomes like almost like an anti-hero, where like you're rooting for the humans, but you don't know who's who. So every time there's a movement, you're suspicious of it if it's good or bad. So I
Yeah.
like it because it's just kind of like a whodunit the entire time. But once again, that's why 1984, The Thing, and then the I was going to say Prelude, the what not that wasn't a reboot. It was what do I want to say?
Is it a sequel?
What do I want to say? It's before
Prequel.
prequel. Thank you. I don't
There's a
know, I couldn't think
prequel?
of it.
What's it called?
The Thing. It's just the newer 2007 or whatever.
I
it
think
was,
that's a
2011.
remake.
No, it's not.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. Like, I think I would know. But anyway,
I don't know if you would.
no, it's the day before. It's literally the day before The Thing. So anyway, the reason that didn't work is because they just made the monster more just fast moving, no practical effects, and it was just a boring movie. It was just a monster movie versus
Yeah.
sticking to just the intrigue of just the slow building. Dang. Stuff. So it's just, I know it's neat. It's the isolation of being stuck with an alien on the most alien continent on our planet. So there,
You don't think Australia
I love
is?
it. No, Antarctica. It's so desolate.
Largest desert in the world. Anywho.
Says the largest desert in the world. Burn. You go. You're up.
Me go.
You
Now
go.
I go. Well, I'm going to take us back to the year
Simpler
1957. Not a simpler time.
Oh,
Though the movie is in black and white, which some might see as simple.
what are you gonna do?
I'm talking about A Face in the Crowd,
Oh,
starring Andy Griffith,
okay.
directed by Elia Kazan.
Tell me more. Like, does he have a car?
Yeah. He's got a car. So the IMDb synopsis for this movie: a female radio reporter turns a folk singing drifter into a powerful media star. So
So basically, his real life story.
I don't know about that.
There's a drift.
I have to ask my dad, I guess. But so yeah, Andy Andy Griffith.
Frothed off.
Andy Griffith. So Andy Griffith plays Lonesome Rhodes. That's his name. He's a drifter, and the lead, Patricia Neal, she's a reporter. She's on assignment for her radio show. She's doing a story about these men in jail. She goes to a jail in this like country town, and he's one of them, and he sings a song, and he does all this stuff, and is real entertaining, and she puts it on the radio, and he becomes this sensation, and he gets his own show, and he moves to the city and does all this stuff, and like it culminates with him like going on this like tirade on the air when he doesn't realize that he's on the air on television about how he controls his audience and they'll do whatever I want, and it's incredible.
It's so surprising to see the Andy Griffith character doing that.
This was prior to the show.
I know. I'm just saying.
So no, it's fantastic. He's incredible.
I just don't see Matlock getting upset.
He's got great range. This is such a fun movie. It's so interesting. And when people talk about Elia Kazan, they talk about On the Waterfront, which is a classic. It's an incredible movie, and it's definitely worth all the hype. But this one is just as interesting and just as well made. And people don't talk about it. And I think a lot of people our age a lot of people our age just aren't like necessarily going to seek out the Andy Griffith movie. You know, it's like, oh yeah, Andy Griffith. My grandpa watched that or whatever. Like it's that kind of thing. Like no one thinks of him as like a serious actor, but like seeing him there, he could have been, you know,
and obviously
so much bigger.
Obviously,
than that.
he's. Yeah, I think it's a household name.
Yeah.
So it's not like he failed in any.
Right.
But like you're saying, he could have gone off and just done films alone.
Oh yeah, he could have been a star. Like not that he wasn't on television. A different type of star. He could have been a film star. He could have been a Brando. He could have been, He
could have been an adult star.
He could have been a contender. He could have been somebody.
See what you did there.
It's it's because it's Brando and On the Waterfront, also directed by Elia Kazan.
Okay, all right, Zach.
I'm gonna get that clip and make it a sound effect and put it in.
Well, I'm actually gonna go even further back in time for my third one.
Hang on, before we do that.
Okay.
I think that for the next Meet the Hosts, not for our next week segment, just for our next Meet the Hosts.
Replacement?
No, I think we should. Maybe it's not Meet the Host, but I think what we should do, because you've never seen A Face in the Crowd and I've never seen The Thing. I think we should watch those movies. Like I should watch The Thing and you should watch A Face in the Crowd, and then we should talk about them.
Okay, and then
on a future segment.
Join the Facebook page, and then we would both be on the Facebook page.
No,
and it'd be
not that.
It'd be both of our names if you change your name. I got it. I get what you're saying. Okay, I got this.
No. All right,
we're gonna travel.
In the future, I think we should do that.
I'm into it. We're going to travel back in time a little bit further to 1939
for The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
It's always on my list.
Very cool.
Well, I can't say it's the only musical because I love Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but it's the only musical that meets my top list of film. And just Ray Bolger's performance alone as the Scarecrow is just my favorite thing in the world. Just how overly dramatic he delivers every fucking line. I threw my legs off over there. It's so big. But it's draped in the lore and legend. Like everyone knows that the stories about like if people died on set and then people really did die after from the poisoning. And then the first the actress who played the witch got set on fire, so they had to replace her. And then the second one almost caught on fire again. In the
more like how about a little fire witch?
Raining asbestos, like the snow was just pure asbestos raining on the crew. Judy Garland's abuse on set and then afterwards. It's just it's so intriguing.
So the behind the scenes is just as interesting as the story.
Exactly.
Have you ever
the first movie with Technicolor, and like that it blew you away because when you're first watching it, you're like, oh, it's just a black and white movie. The sets are beautiful, but then all of a sudden Technicolor comes out and everything just pops, and people weren't expecting it, so it just blew their minds.
So little known fact: did you know that there was a tornado in this movie?
Oh yeah.
No one knew.
The creepiest thing when you're a kid, or when I was a kid, was the tornado scene.
Yeah,
and the lead into it. It's my favorite part of the movie. better get undercover there, Sylvester. It's a storm blowing up a whopper. What is that, Drifter? But yeah, the tornado scene is just disturbing. I still don't know how they did it. It looks
a tornado.
Real.
They
They recorded a tornado.
Yeah.
And had them all on set.
You know, Twister is actually a documentary about the making of this movie.
But no, just I mean the score / soundtrack, everything is just very well done, and I love how it's so clean. It's good versus evil, minus the one line: "Only bad witches are ugly." You're like, okay, little on the nose.
Okay.
I don't know about that
Wow.
one. Glenda, you just told her to steal the freaking shoes.
Oh, what a bitch.
But no, yeah, that's one of the movies where if it's on TV, I will stop whatever I'm doing and watch that movie.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's one that I always remembered watching in the springtime around like Easter. It would always like air on TV around then. And I remember that. And I think part of that is like we live in the Midwest and we have tornadoes in the spring.
Yeah.
And I think part of it was literally like, oh, you know what? We're gonna play this tornado movie.
Yeah. I didn't make it all the way through the book. I think I got halfway through.
It's pretty short. I read it to my son when he was younger, and it's a lot different.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting adaptation.
Reading half of it and being like, okay, there's a lot left out.
Well, but I think L. Frank Baum, I think he wrote a fair amount of books actually in the Oz series, and they just took a bunch from all of them.
Yeah,
you know,
the gruesomeness of the Tin Man is pretty awful. About how the witch kept hacking off his limbs,
Yeah.
and then it kept replacing him so he could get back to his love. And then by the time he replaced his heart, he didn't have feelings for it anymore. You're like, well, this is like
it's tragic.
It's like
it's
a German
tragic and
fairy
beautiful.
tale. Yeah.
I believe there's a short film of that version that's incredibly touching and beautiful that I watched on YouTube.
I've seen it,
a couple years ago.
I don't know if I've seen it or if I watched the YouTube one.
No, it's on YouTube. That's it.
Maybe that was you that told me to watch it, and I did. It was a while ago.
I think that I saw it. I first saw it. Our friend Becky showed it to me.
Yeah.
And
That
it
makes
was. It had to be 2011, 10 or 11, right when we started college, probably. But if I can find that on YouTube, I'll throw a link to that in the show notes so people can check that out. It's really cool.
At the very least, I'll watch it.
Yeah, your people.
I'm a people.
So
I'm a single people.
So speaking of a good adaptation of a book,
Yeah.
that brings us to my favorite movie, my number one, my favorite movie of all time, which is
Praise Tell.
Adaptation.
Okay, I just watched that. 3 weeks ago?
So
For the second
2002,
time.
written by Charlie Kaufman, directed by Spike Jonze. This movie's incredible, and it's one of the best screenplays I've ever read in my life. Adaptation
about multiple screenwriters.
Adaptation, yes, is about Charlie Kaufman, played by Nicolas Cage, and his twin brother Donald Kaufman, also played by Nicolas Cage. So
Double Cage action.
So Charlie Kaufman is a screenwriter who got
Cajun.
hired to adapt this book into a movie, but there's no plot in the book at all. It's just about orchids. It's just writing about orchids, and they wanted to make a movie out of it.
So he struggles the whole time.
So he can't figure it out, and a lot of the movie is about him trying to adapt the book and figuring it out. And he goes to meet the author, Susan Orlean, who's played by Meryl Streep, who's incredible in it. This movie is so good. It's so complex and smart and fun. And he creates this fake twin brother that he doesn't actually have, who also wants to be a screenwriter, and he's the exact opposite kind of screenwriter as he is, and he wants to do this like crazy psycho thriller movie that doesn't make any sense.
He goes to one
it.
lecture, and all of a sudden he's a screenwriter and knows everything.
And like, there's so much just smart structural stuff throughout this movie. For anyone who hasn't seen it, this is definitely worth a watch if you are a fan of film. Like that's it. I love everything Charlie Kaufman does.
Cage wears a nice merkin on his head, and that's the worst wig I've ever seen. I'm sorry,
it's gross.
It's the most disturbing wig I've ever seen.
Yeah, and this is one of the movies that, like, when people talk about, like, oh, Nicolas Cage is a hack or whatever, it's I point to this. He's incredible. When Nicolas Cage is given something worthwhile, he hits it out of the park. He's incredible. Like, he should have won an Oscar for this movie.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Leaving Las Vegas.
Well, he did win an Oscar for that.
No, I know I'm saying, but
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, if you ever want to see him do his
He's so good.
more sincere work.
Yeah, so that's my favorite.
Well, I love this.
This was a fun little segment that we did
Fuck
here.
the audience. We don't care what they think. We enjoyed it, right? We're great. We did great.
You know,
today.
we're great. We did great.
I'm sorry, we did great, Poland.
We did. Stop it.
Poland George.
That will never be my name. Never. You're not my father.
Well, yeah, I think maybe not right away, but we can do the
Yeah, let's do that
the
swap. Let's do that swap because I'd like to watch The Thing. And actually, for anyone
That
interested,
could be a new dance move.
for
Do
anyone-
that swap.
for anybody who likes The Thing and John Carpenter movies, the podcast Blank Check right now is doing a mini series on John Carpenter movies.
Oh, wonderful.
So they'll have an episode about The Thing coming up shortly. It may be out by the time this episode comes out.
I'm into that. I'll be tuning in.
And that's a very interesting. That's a really fun show where they deep dive on directors' filmographies.
Woof.
Arf, arf.
Well, do we want to spoil Wednesday for them? Let them know what we're up to.
Oh yeah.
Because this is a good one. Get ready. Get your diapers on or whatever you do to prep for
What?
these things. I don't know what they do. Maybe
in
they
case
get
they
so,
poop? 'Cause they don't wanna
They
move?
fucking shit their pants. They're like, oh my god, knowledge.
Poop. All right, you want to tell them?
We're talking Heat.
We're talking Heat.
Talking Heat, baby.
1995.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. The moment we picked Point Break, you knew Heat was coming.
I've got some questions that I'm going to ask you about Heat on Wednesday.
I was gonna say, don't do it now.
I'm not going to do it now.
We got rules,
But I want you to know that I have questions that I'm going to ask you.
We're brothers. We practically lived together
We don't. We
Lived.
did.
once.
We did.
But yeah, watch Heat. If you haven't seen Heat,
Yeah, watch Heat.
then I don't know what's wrong with you. Go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it.
That's it.
That's it.
Don't you're just mirroring me. I don't like this at all.
Oh, thanks for listening, everybody. Be sure to check out the main episode coming up on Wednesday where we're going to talk about Heat. We're going to talk about Heat.
I'm not saying.
Tell your friends about us and be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what we do, you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us online at KeystoneCopycats.com. We're at Keystone Copycats on Instagram and Facebook, and at Keystone Copycat on Twitter. If you've got something to say, you can email us at KeystoneCopycats@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 513-239-7682. Be sure to check out Sinclarity Dinosaur's Tale every Friday at DinosaurSPodcast.com. And until next time, I'll remain Zach and not be Poland, and he will be...
Please.
Oh, we'll see you on Wednesday, buddies.
Bye.